In 2024, we left Canada for good and moved to a rustic 300-year-old stone farmhouse in rural France. You could say that we're living everyone's dream, but not exactly. Our granite house is typical to this region of Brittany, and it's got maybe three separate parts that have been constructed over time. The oldest part is about 300 years old, and the newest was built about 150 years ago. In my previous videos, I've shown a lot of the gorgeous features of this house: the exposed stonework, the original beams, the vaulted ceilings, the stuff that Hollywood rom-coms are made of. And those features of the house really are gorgeous. But today I want to subvert the idyllic fantasy and show you a bit of the less rom-com worthy features of the house. Like if my house had a blooper reel, this is what I'm going to show today. But first off, this isn't a list of complaints or big shocks that we got when we moved here. Beyond the usual surprises you get when you move to a new place and little mystery things, there's actually this one light switch in our house back in Canada that I never did figure out the purpose for, and that thing's going to taunt me to my grave. But aside from those kind of surprises, there weren't any. My husband is French, and he grew up in a house very much like this, so we knew what was ahead. We weren't chasing some idyllic dream. Okay, so then why would we choose a house that needs so much done to it? Fair question, and easy answer. It's our autistic son, and it's for him that we made this move. We chose this location because of proximity to different centers, different cities that have the resources that he needs, and keep our options open for him for housing in the future. We chose it because it has extra accommodation, a separate little cottage called a gîte. And our son lives over at the gîte, and we've made a lot of modifications there to make it more comfortable for him and meet his needs. And the rest of the family just rotate through staying with him there, which it's not ideal for this stage of life, but it's a means to the end when he can be in a more permanent housing situation and doesn't rely on us 24/7. So right now, his needs are a priority. And so whenever you look at any of the stuff that we haven't done here and wonder, it's an easy fix. Why haven't they done it? Can they not afford this house? It's simply that our resources, our renovation budget, all of that is directed to him right now because he needs it more. So he's the one with a spiffy new ultra deep bathtub. He has a very efficient, effective heating system. He has a staircase where the stairs are all aligned in the right height. He even has walls that don't have wallpaper on them. And I mean, we're not heroes or anything. Any parent does the same. When your kid needs something, you give it to them. You give it to them first. And without wanting to sound too tragic, part of living with autism and disability is hardship. And when I look at what's hard in my life, it's the autism stuff. It's the caring for this person. It's not the fact that we don't have a bathtub or a toilet upstairs. I mean, I don't love that, but that's not the hardest thing going on right now. We didn't make this move because we're chasing a luxury retirement. We made the move for the sake of our son and for his future, and by extension, our future. And so that's really the focus now, getting him set up. And so we'll deal with this other stuff, renovations, aesthetics, as we have the budget, because we're not retired, we're still working, and as we have the time. We're quite accustomed to living with things that are, not too stylish or kind of wonky, and making do, because that's just kind of how autism rolls. Basically, we'll deal with all the bits when we have the time and budget, or if things go completely south and they conk out and we have to deal with them, which historically is more our brand. So if you've ever dreamed of a quaint life in rural France, rural Europe, wherever, in a rustic old house, come along for a behind the scenes tour of some of the things that will probably not make it into the next Hollywood screenplay. Again, every place is different, and different budgets are going to buy you different degrees of quaintness. In addition, everyone has their own list of non negotiables and what they can live with and what they can't. And on top of that, a lot of the things here they're not even problems. They're just things that are different, things that I did not see in Canada. So, as I've mentioned, we don't have a bathtub in the house at all. We did put one in for my son. We don't have a toilet in France, you call it the first floor. For North Americans, it's the second floor, but the floor above the main floor where the bedrooms are, there's no toilet. So, those are top priorities for when we're ready to start doing things on our house. They're at the top of the list. I've also spoken at length about our heating system, which is a pellet fueled hot water heater that pumps hot water into our radiators to heat the house and also heats our hot water tank in conjunction with a solar panel. So that means in the summer, we get hot water pretty much for free, which is lovely. But in the winter, we rely on the pellet stove to heat the radiators and heat the hot water tank. And that is not great. The pellet stove requires quite a lot of maintenance, needs to be cleaned fairly frequently, and that's a really big production. Needs to be fed pellets. And so it means someone has to be around to babysit it. And so if we were to go away, which we could not go away because autism holds us hostage, but if we did go away, even for 2 or 3 days, we would come home to not only a cold house, but no hot water. In addition, the way the house is laid out, this style of heating just isn't ideal for it because we have this one really big, the great room with the vaulted ceiling. It can't heat it well. Because the layout with where the tanks are and everything, the upper floors get nice heat, but the lower floor just doesn't. So this is something we do want to replace, but it's fully tied into the upstairs bathroom because the plumbing's all there, and that's where we want to put in a tub and toilet. It's also connected to the flooring upstairs, which is kind of wonky. So it's one very big job that we kind of have to do all at once rather than piecemeal, which is why we haven't done it yet. The house was not constructed for the nobility. And so, among other things, there's no closets anywhere in the building because it was built for people who did not have multiple changes of clothes. We knew there were no closets here. It is actually very easy to come by some beautiful armoires, wardrobes for not very much money, but unfortunately, we have to figure out how to get them up the stairs, which I don't know if it's doable. So we may be building closets when we do a renovation. There's also lots and lots of bare bulbs here, more than I've ever seen in any dwelling, but that's completely fixable. It's something we just have to get to. And there is lots of wallpaper, which I, as a concept, I'm not opposed to wallpaper, but it's very personalized. It's like your art. And so when you inherit someone else's wallpaper, you're really inheriting their taste. And here we've inherited someone's great appreciation for glitter. And I'm not opposed to glitter as a concept, but I need to be able to choose my own glitter, and I just don't know if I want glitter in the bathroom. So flooring on the main floor, it's all tile, and this is quite typical for France. And there are advantages to tile and some disadvantages. Advantages, it's durable, it lasts for a very long time, it's easy to clean, it's hard to damage, it stays nice and cool in the summer, and then it also stays cool in the winter, so that's less an advantage. And it's also, as I said, very hard. And in the kitchen, when you drop stuff, which I do an awful lot, things just smash. And in the kitchen, when you drop yourself, which I also do a lot, I wiped out there just a week or two ago because the tiles are slippery in my socks, and I just shot right out and smashed down and hit the floor and kind of gibbled my shoulder. And it's sore, it's fine. I can't really raise my arm, but I don't really need to raise it as long as someone doesn't come and ask me to be in a flash mob, I'm okay. And honestly, you don't run into a lot of flash mobs in this part of Brittany, so it's probably fine. So, because the house was built kind of piecemeal over a long period of time, it's at different levels. So, we have stairs going from the dining room to the living room. And then from the living room to the kitchen, we actually have a slightly too big stair, followed by a ramp going down to the kitchen, which I don't really love because of balance. We always have to warn our guests. And as I've mentioned, I tend to fall over too. But we could add a second step instead of the ramp if we so desired, very low down on the list. Another result of having these different levels, especially between the living room and the kitchen, is our kitchen pass through, which is quite lovely. And from the kitchen, it's at chest height. But when you come through the living room, it's at mid thigh, which is just an odd level for a pass through, just another quirk. Windows in an old house like this are quite different because, again, it wasn't originally built to be a house. A lot of these are former farm and outbuildings, and so the windows were more for ventilation or passing through supplies to the loft. And so they can end up being very, very tiny or up very, very high or even at floor level. You never know. But that's one of the other things that make it fun. And I know I've already mentioned the blinds before, but it would not be an A La La episode if I didn't mention zombies at least once. And what I love about these blinds is they make me feel ready for a zombie apocalypse. There's this whole I am legend vibe going on with these blinds that make me feel so safe and secure at night. But even, practicalities, zombies aside, even with our crazy stormy weather, it feels very cozy and secure to have the house be put to bed at night. Now, the door locks are very common here and something you would not see in Canada, and that is double locking deadbolts. So you need a key to lock it from the inside and to unlock it. And in Canada, that would have been against fire codes and wouldn't have been legal. However, in the autism world, we couldn't live without those. So all of the homes we lived in Canada, we always had those put on the doors because at our house, locks are not meant to keep people out. They're meant to keep folks inside. And so it was actually really great to arrive to have it all set up because we've never had that before and super handy. Even the bedrooms are locked with keys from the inside and the outside. And again, this is helpful to us because when you have, say, a fridge, a secret fridge that you have to keep in a secret room away from the Wookiee who frequently steals stuff from the fridge, it's super handy to have a bedroom that locks with a key. Another thing we didn't see as much of in North America, and I love here because it's pretty standard, is towel warmers. I think a lot of the time bathrooms don't have another heat source, and so the towel warmer doubles as a heater for the bathroom and a way to warm your towels. And so even in our tiny little not great bathroom upstairs, it has a towel warmer, and that makes up for a lot of misery to be able to step out of the shower into a warm towel. So, in the spirit of saving the best for last and giving you a prize for sticking around to the end, I give you the biggest crime against architecture, which is this additional floor that was put in above the existing floor on the middle floor of the house to accommodate these pipes and plumbing fixtures that feed into our heating and hot water system. So, on top of the flooring being of pretty poor quality and not very attractive, it's completely mismatched with everything else that's upstairs. And as well, the top step has been cut off, so you can't even fit your entire foot on the top stair. The top stair is too high compared to the others. And the banisters were never raised to accommodate the higher floor. So, someone who's clumsy like me is going to go over it sooner or later. So, correcting this hallway problem will have to happen at the same time as we correct this room, which is meant to be the master bedroom someday. Right now, it's just a really, really sad space where even the windows are weeping tears of blood. So we're really hopeful that this spring we can get started on this project. It's been a long time of kind of camping in the other rooms, waiting to have nicer bedrooms and a functioning bathroom upstairs. So hopefully the stars will align in the next couple months and we'll be able to get started. So while it has a lot of oddities, this house actually scores fairly high on the energy rating scale in terms of things like having a new roof, insulation in the roof, up-to-date wiring. We have a lot of outlets. I'm amazed, more than anywhere we've ever lived. Plumbing, all those things. It's so where it matters, it's actually in good shape. It's kind of like the Millennium Falcon of houses. She may not look like much, but she's got it where it counts. All of the things I've shown you and talked about today are either livable or aesthetic and can be updated when we're ready to. The crazy expensive things have already been done. Things like the wiring and the insulation. They just don't look as exciting in a rom-com screenplay. I mean, you're not going to see any Nancy Meyers movie where everyone's oohing and awing about the gorgeous insulation in the attic. And in fact, we looked at a lot of other houses and we saw a lot of other houses that were prettier, had more updates, had more comforts, but they didn't always rate as high on the energy scale. And really, it costs a lot less to take down some wallpaper, slap up some paint, than it does to rewire the house or put in a whole new plumbing system. When I was a kid, I loved the Pippi Longstocking books. And Pippi lived by herself in a house called Villa Villa Cala, which was big and rambling and chaotic, kind of like our house. We don't have any straight lines here. And like Pippi, we don't quite use the rooms the way they were intended. Fortunately, I have an aversion to straight lines and order and things that match. And it's a good thing because autism delivered a lot of chaos in our lives. But I look at this house and think, given how long it's been standing, I imagine it's seen a lot of chaos as well. And so I look at it now and I'm like, yeah, bud, I gotcha. We're both a little old, we're a bit crooked, a bit worse for wear, but the storms keep coming and we're both still standing. If you want to see the full house tour, you can watch it here. And if you want to hear more about our backstory and how we ended up coming to France, you can see this video here on that. So that's it for me. Merci d'avoir regardé cette vidéo. Thank you for watching this video and à bientôt. See you soon.